Hello beautiful plant people, it's Nora the Leca Queen here. I have the most awesome unboxing to do today. I've just received this box. It literally just landed on my doorstep and I can't wait to get into it. So some of you might know what this brand is. This is a fantastic box from my good friend Andy from the Leafy brand. I've been looking at Andy's shop for quite some time now, and there's some things that he has in his shop that I think would work really well for someone who's growing their plants in Leca like I do. So I had a chat with Andy and he recommended some things and he said he'd send me some things to give a try. So I'm excited. Box is open. Oh, I love that. Look at that. It is so beautiful. It says your Leafy goodies have arrived. And then back here it says, thank you, Nora. Your support is the heartbeat of our passion. Hope you have fun with these Leafy goodies. And that's from Andy. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Andy. I'm going to keep this. It's really beautiful. And of course, you know, the usual receipts, blah, blah, blah. And I love this packaging. I love this. I'll save this for reuse. Oh, look at what I spy first. That is beautiful. This is one of Andy's trellises. I absolutely love this clear trellis. And I know, oof, look at everything. It's just so pretty. He's got his Leafy brand on the plastic there. So nice. I think that's one of the things I love about this brand. It's really into making things look pretty, making our environment look nice, you know, just zhuzhing up your plant to make it look its best. So it's all very well and good to have lovely looking plants, but they have to sit nicely in your environment and you just up your decor. That is that trellis. That's going to work really well with one of my Hoyas. There's a Hoya that's got its name on this. And one thing that I love that would be really good, especially for people who grow their plants in soil, is you can see these little sharp ends there. So it's really easy to just slot in there and that'll stay in the soil. So I think this is the large one, which works really well because I'm thinking of putting it on one of my Hoyas, and you know how crazy Hoyas get. So that is my fantastic trellis. Thank you, Andy. And that is the same thing. So I think that is the smaller version. I think this comes in a pack of 2. I could be wrong. So you've got a smaller one and a larger one. So yeah, I love it. Ooh, this is another thing that I'm really liking. This is a very long acrylic stake. So again, you've got that little pointy bit at the end just to easily put your thing in there, and it's nice and long. So this one I'm thinking of using for my very long alocasias, for example. I know my alocasia Friedrich is sometimes the leaves get a bit lazy and they're just like, oh. So I'll put that and just hold that nicely. And because it's clear and transparent, it's not unsightly when you're looking at your plant. So yeah, that is fantastic. I really wanted some of these. I've got some that I got off Amazon and they're not nearly as long as these are. I got 2 of those. Let us see. Oh, hang on. Got another trellis. I think that must mean that the trellises come in a pack of 3, maybe. I don't know. There. See, you've got big, bigger, biggest, small, smaller, smallest, whichever way you decide to look at it. I've got 3 of those, which is really good because I've got quite a number of Hoyas that are looking a little bit lanky at the moment and need some structure. I'll put that away. I think these are the moss poles. Now, I need to figure out how to get into this. It's just cling film. I'll just unwrap that. And I know Andy sent me some moss poles because he wants me to give them a try. I prefer to make my moss poles because then I can control the size of the moss pole. But Andy assures me that I'm probably going to like these. So yeah, I'm willing to give that a try. So this is the transparent one, the clear one. Was that the frost? Hang on, this is the frosted one. This is the frosted one. Yes, these are the clear ones in here. I'll pull that out so you can see the difference. This is the clear one. This is the frosted one. So, you know, if you really, I actually prefer the frosted one. I do. I do. And I love how it's got Leafy on there. It's all branded. It's really, really pretty. So that's the face of the pole. That's where you'll put your plant. And then you can determine the width of your pole using these little slits at the back. So this fits into that. And you can, you know, go like basically like so. That's kind of how you construct it. So I think, so this one is probably the medium one, I think. This one looks like it's the small one. And this one is the large one. So, ooh, I am not going to need to make any moss poles for quite some time. So that's really good. I love that. And I have a lot of plants that I actually need to put up on moss poles, which is fantastic. Although I have run out of tree fern fiber, so I need to buy myself some tree fern fiber. But he has been so generous. Oh my goodness. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a teeny tiny one. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's so small. It's so cute. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has sent me 10 moss poles. That is very, very generous. And Andy wants me to have 10 additional moss poles. Okay, Andy, message received. I probably need to go plant shopping. But I'm excited. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually quite surprised because I thought that they were a lot more flimsy than they actually are. So that's a really, really good surprise for me because I'm really always concerned about how the moss pole is actually going to be stable, especially when using Leca, because when you put a moss pole in Leca, it's not as steady or as stable as it is if you're growing your plants in soil. And that's something people always assume is the other way around because Leca's clay, but that's not it. Leca clay balls are actually very, very light. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. The other thing I love to do with my moss balls is I actually like to put a metal rod at the back. And again, it really is just because of the stability issues when you're growing your plant in soil versus when you're growing your plant in Leca clay balls. And for me to put a pole at the back, I usually put holes in my plastic sheet at the back where I'll thread through my cable tie and have the metal rod at the back. So I might have to modify Andy's poles just so I can have my holes at the back so I can have my metal rod. But you know, again, that's really just a preference thing for me. So maybe what I will do is actually try some without the metal rod and try some other ones with the metal rod and see how I go. That'll be interesting. But yeah, that is 10 people. I kid you not, that is 10 moss poles that I need to fill. Let's go to the next item. Now, these are what I'm really, really excited about. I saw these on Andy's Instagram page, and the second I saw them, I sent him a message and said, Andy, what are those pots? I want some. I want to see what is going on with those pots. So this is some, I think they're new on Andy's website. I could be wrong, but I think they're new. And so you've got, well, at least I've got anyway, 3 different sizes. I've got a tiny one, a middle-sized one, and a much larger one. Let's start with a tiny one. This is, I think, equivalent to like a 10 centimeter pot. This is what I would be using as my starter pot when I get a plant and I'm putting it straight into Leca, unless it's like really, really tiny. So this is good. This is good. I love that it's clear, obviously, and I love the fact that it has a cash pot. And of course, it's got the Leafy little sticker right at the back there. There. It looks pretty. It feels very solid. I mean, this one particularly feels very solid, much more so than the cash pot. This one is great. And of course, the thing I love about this is that it's got no hole. So it's a proper cash pot. These are self-watering pots in effect, which work great for me because that's what I want. If you know anything about me, you will know that I love ventilation. As far as I'm concerned, having additional ventilation holes is one of the major reasons that I think I have as much success as I do growing my plants in Leca clay bowls, because that added aeration is just so good for those roots. And I did say to Andy that I'm a bit concerned that your pots don't have any ventilation, and he said to me that they do. It's in the side over here. It's very difficult to see the little ventilation holes that are in the sides over there. So I've got my card that Andy sent to me, and if I put it through there, you can see that that card has come through that hole right at the bottom. You can see where it's gone in. That's that card gone in. And so you've got little ventilation holes on the sides there, on the recesses there, across all the way around, which is okay, I guess, but I don't know. And it's fine. A lot of pots actually don't come with ventilation holes. Even the chooser pots, they don't come with ventilation holes. And a lot of people have a lot of success with that kind of thing. Not a problem. It's just my personal preference. I prefer to have way more holes, way more ventilation in my pots than what this provides. And maybe what I will do is, do a little bit of an experiment. So I'll probably grow a plant in one of the pots without making any ventilation holes, exactly as is. And then maybe for this other one, oh, look at that. They're just so pretty. I can't even explain to you how pretty these pots are. They are absolutely amazing, and they fit perfectly. It's a perfect fit, But anyway, back to the ventilation holes. I digress, completely digress. See, I put that back in there. It's exactly the same as the smaller one. So just there. So maybe what I'll do is maybe I'll make ventilation holes in this one. That plastic is so much thicker than what I normally use, the clear pots that you can find in Bunnings and elsewhere. That is so much thicker. That's like really like thick. Andy reckons I might not be able to make a hole in that. I don't know, I trust my soldering iron, so I might give that a go and see how I go. But yeah, I love, love, love them. And to be honest, see, as the pots get bigger, you do have a taller, sort of more ventilation. That's a bit bigger than it was with the smaller one. So yeah, I mean, could do that. And then of course there's holes at the bottom as well. There's a hole in the middle there. And what I do want to know though is actually, because the pot, actually this inner pot has got a lip. It's got a little lip there. So when you've got your pot there and you put that there, it actually suspends on top right there. So you've actually got a little gap of about yay much in there. So if I was using this for growing my plants in Leca, I would probably want to put a wick in it, because that pot is not sitting right at the bottom of that cache pot like this. You might have a chance that, especially before the plant roots grow into the reservoir, that Leca that's in this pot is not in contact with the nutrient solution in there, and then you might have a bit of a drying situation going on. So I would probably use a wick for this, and yeah, I mean, just a normal wick would work. I mean, the slits here are a bit on the smaller side, so you could probably squeeze it in. I don't know. I mean, worst case scenario, you could probably use a soldering iron to make that hole a little bit bigger, but I think it's still possible. Or you could just thread, put a little tie. I'll use this big one to demonstrate. So I've got a wick that I would potentially be using in there, right? So I put it through that middle hole. That's going to be there. That will go through quite nicely, but I'd make a knot right in the middle. So make that knot right in the middle. So I've got this that stays at the bottom and that stays at the top, or whichever direction you want it to go. It doesn't really matter, really. So I will have that happening. So I've got my wick that's going into my reservoir over there. And then I've got that top part of the wick that is going to be in and amongst my leca. And as such, my leca is always got contact with the nutrient solution in my reservoir. I think that's probably how I would modify this with regards to actually making sure that that reservoir is working well for my plant growing in leca. But yeah, simple things. So that's what that would look like. But I'm really, really, really excited. I'm absolutely excited about these. These are little hooks. You use them to control your wayward plants that have just got arms everywhere. You put them there and you hook in all the leaves and it just keeps them all contained. Alocasias, I'm thinking about you. They would be a good candidate for this kind of thing. I have a philodendron stenolobum, which would be great to use with this because its arms are just everywhere. So this is absolutely fantastic. I have been wanting something like this. I'm going to do a little short video to show you how I use this. So watch out for that one. I cannot wait to use this. And there's another thing that Andy sent me in this little packet over here. And these are little clips. I love these clips. And one of the reasons I really love these is that they are clear. Look at them. They are absolutely beautiful. They're like little butterfly clips and you use them to clip. You know, when you put your little stake or your acrylic rod that I was talking about earlier and you clip it, and that's nice. And you don't have to use any of that really not so very nice looking Velcro plant tie, which is green, but you've got your little lovely looking clear acrylic stick and you've got that and it's all just fantastic. So I think there's 10 in this pack. So great value. Thank you, Andy. I'll put a link in the description to all the products that I've talked about in this video. When I actually start to use all these products, I'll probably make some videos showing you how I use them and how they work. So thank you very much, Andy, for sending me these goods. Of course, this is a sponsored post in that I have not paid for any of these products, but I had to share them with you guys because they are beautiful and they are functional and they will work very well for your plants growing in leca. So if you're interested in getting any of these products, you can use my discount code that's here on the screen and also in the description below, and Andy will sort you out. In the meantime, go and watch this next video and see how I repot my massive bird of paradise. I'll see you there.